Welcome back, guys. I don't want to make this intro too long. This video is essentially going to be what the title states. As you might have seen from my second last video, I went to Europe. I did a sort of a backpacking trip, and I want to give you some tips. I believe they're going to be 9 tips. What happened was I made this video and it ended up being too long even after editing it, so I just scrapped it and I said I could make it shorter. So this is even a more condensed version than what I made before. So I'm going to go through tips quickly. I'm going to give you the main points. Make sure you follow all the tips. Everything that I'm going to mention is going to be in the description box down below. So let's get to it. Okay, so tip number 1, and basically one of the most important tips out of all these tips that I'm going to be giving you throughout this video is pack light. You want to pack as light as possible, bring as little clothes as possible. You actually do not need that many clothes. Have 1 or 2 main outfits, then the rest just get an extra more in case something happens, but do not bring that many clothes. I bet you've seen this on every single video, people telling you to pack light, but they actually mean it, and I mean it as well. So pack light, get a backpack. 40 liters is more than enough, especially if you're doing a 1 to 2 month trip. If you're doing longer, maybe get a bigger bag, but still pack light. If you're going to have access to a sink or a washing machine, even better. Just wash your clothes every week. There's a quote that says, pack half the stuff and double the money, and it's actually really true. So make sure you pack light. Don't bring more than 7 pairs of underwear. Bring as little socks as possible, especially if it's in the summer. Bring 5 shirts maximum, 2 to 3 pants maximum. Don't bring any bulky shoes. Trust me, you're not going to be on your trip and you're going to be like, oh shit, I forgot to pack that. Oh, I forgot that amazing shirt that I have. All those pants, I should have really brought them. You're going to be thinking about the trip, what you're going to do, where you're going to see. You're not going to be worrying about your clothes. They smell a little bit, that's fine. Just wash them after. But what you might be doing is, oh, I wish I had more money, not more clothes. So yeah, that's it for tip number 1. Tip number 2 has to do with packing, and it's basically find a suitable backpack. What I got was a 40-liter backpack. I'm going to be showing you that in a moment. Make sure it has a good amount of compartments, it's sturdy. But the main tip from getting a backpack is you don't have to splurge on a backpack, especially if it's a short trip. I bought like a low range to medium range backpack, and it's really good. Just read the reviews on backpacks. You don't have to get an Osprey or something, I don't know, really heavy duty, especially if you're just doing a mild backpacking trip to Europe or Asia. Here's the one that I got. It's basically an orange bag, and I got orange because I thought that fluorescent would be better if something happened, if we got lost, or if we're in a big crowd, it's easy to spot one another. This has 3 pockets. It has a big main pocket. I know it looks pretty small, like that's what I thought in the beginning, but it isn't. It fits everything. So it has a big main pocket, it has a second pocket, and then it has a smaller third pocket, but it's actually not that small because it goes all the way to the bottom. This is where I kept my electronics, chargers, what have you. This is where I kept my toiletries, slippers, all that stuff. And here's where I kept my main stuff, like all the big clothes, shoes, and whatnot. It also has the padding in the back. It has another compartment here for headphones, ear jacks. Here's more padding. It's a really good backpack. I bought it, I used it on the trip, and I've used it since then as well. Okay, so tip number 3 is also about packing, and it's get a money belt or a wallet belt or what have you, whatever you may call it. It's basically a belt that looks like a fanny pouch, but it isn't, because you stick it inside your pants, and you're supposed to stick it inside your pants because that's what it's for. It's for keeping your It's for keeping your valuables like passports, money, ID cards, stuff like that. Like stuff you really don't want to lose, especially your passport. And for passports, make sure you make copies and email them to yourself as well. Nobody will see it's in your pants. You're going to have empty pockets. If somebody tries to pickpocket you, they won't get anything aside from your phone. But make sure, just stay vigilant. You're not going to get pickpocketed. We were in Barcelona, one of the major hotspots for pickpocketing, and it didn't happen. Just stay vigilant, look around, keep your hands in your pocket if you're in crowded areas, and you'll be fine. I'll leave it in the description down below, and let's go to the next one. Tip number 4 is hostels aren't everything. And what I mean by that is, if you're more than 2 people, so you and someone else, or you and someone else and someone else, you and someone else and someone else and someone else and someone else, it's not really worth it to do hostels. And and I'll tell you why. Hostels you pay individually, and they're worth it. If you go alone, if you're doing solo traveling, they're worth it. Or if you're going with another person maximum, and you want to meet a lot of people in one area, you don't want to like meet people on the street or in bars or what have you, then they are worth it. But if you're with another person and you're going to split the cost, I really recommend Airbnbs. They're really affordable for 2 people and above. You could get a shared place, which is even cheaper, and sometimes even the same cost of a hostel. Or you could get an entire apartment to yourself, most of the times with washing machines, kitchens, everything, for the same price as you would pay individually for a hostel. So make sure you check out Airbnbs. It's a good experience. Don't only rely on hostels if you're doing backpacking. Check Airbnbs as well. And that's what we did on every single city. Some shared rooms, private rooms, not shared rooms, private rooms, and entire apartments as well. Tip number 5 is basically directed for only people going to Europe. If you're not going to Europe, skip it, or if you want to watch it, just keep watching it. And that is the transportation system in Europe. It's really good, especially trains, like the high-speed trains going from one country to one country or one city to another city that are pretty far apart. I know a lot of people use low-cost airlines like Ryanair and other companies, I forgot the names. Now those are great as well, but with trains you don't have the hassle of checking in, getting a security check, landing in some airport, especially with Ryanair that's not a main airport, and stuff like that. And trains are much more comfortable. They may be a little bit more expensive sometimes, but they run all the time, and they have the best seats compared to those type of planes, and even regular planes as well. They go really fast. And the 3 main websites that I use for the trains are Rail Europe, SNCF. SNCF is mainly for France, but you could book tickets to other countries as well. But make sure you compare them with the other sites that I've listed. Number 3 is Trenitalia. That's mainly for Italy, or basically only Italy. And make sure you check all these 3 websites. Basically comparing prices. Compare the prices, get the best offer, and there you go. Tip number 6. I know I said 9 tips, but 2 of those tips I realized they're pretty much useless or shouldn't be in a video. They make it a bit too long. So I'm going to get to the point. Tip number 6 is you don't really need cellular service. And by that, I mean you don't need a SIM card, a working phone with dialing with a number. Just use Wi-Fi. If you're in Europe, the Wi-Fi is really good. You'll have it anywhere on the streets, hotels, around the streets, bars, restaurants. We even had Wi-Fi on top of a mountain in Austria, 2,300 meters, or like 7,000 feet on top of the mountain. We had like full bars. So yeah, you're going to find Wi-Fi everywhere. You could do calls on Wi-Fi with things like Hangouts Dialer, Facebook Messenger, I think, WhatsApp, Skype. So yeah, use Wi-Fi as much as you can. We didn't need a SIM card for a whole month we were there. We just used Wi-Fi. Okay, the last tip, tip number 7. I changed my environment just for fun because that blue wall got kind of boring. And this is one of the most important tips, if not the most important tip. And that is to enjoy yourself. I know you're going to stress out in the beginning over planning, over money, over time, and all that stuff. But trust me, once you go do it, once you have everything ready, once you've packed, once you land in the place, you're going to enjoy yourself. Even if you haven't planned everything, you don't need to plan everything. Stuff happens on the way. Make sure you don't have a solid schedule. Leave room for flexibility so you can enjoy yourself, so you can do stuff on the go. Plan out the major stuff, but not every single stuff or every single thing. So yeah, just enjoy yourself. So yeah, these were my 7 tips. Hope they're shorter now. I think they are. And enjoy yourself. So yeah, that is it guys. Hope you're liking this closeness. Stay tuned for the next video. If you have any questions, leave any comments down below. Message me on YouTube or send me a direct message on Instagram. Anything. I'm going to leave all the social media stuff in the description down below. And stay tuned for the next video.